Hello friends, my name is Bahroz and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I will talk about how you can go about acing Cognitive Aptitude Test. This is a pre-employment cognitive ability test, which is designed to kind of judge a candidate's ability to problem solve, ability to do critical thinking, and to learn new information. This is typically used by organization as part of the hiring process in order to judge that whether a particular candidate will succeed in a particular job or a role, especially if that role requires cognitive abilities. Now, why do I have command on the subject is because I coach numerous candidates on how they can go about acing Ccat test, and this is also one of the reasons I'm creating this video. In case you are interested in also seeking one-to-one coaching services of me, you can use the link that I will leave in the description of this video. Apart from that, before going deeper in the video where I will explain what is the structure of the Ccat test, what are the kind of questions you can expect, and how you can go about acing it, it is very important that in case you find any value from this video, you like this video and also subscribe to the channel. On this channel, I post content pertaining to how you can go about achieving in your career, and more importantly, how you can go about achieving in your financial journey and achieve your financial goals. In case any of this topic is of interest to you, make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. Now let's get rolling into first understanding what to expect in the Ccat test. That is, what kind of questions or structure you should expect in the test altogether. Talking about the test format, you should expect to receive 50 questions and you need to answer those 50 questions in 15 minutes. It's a very short amount of time. The idea is that these questions that you will receive are very simple. However, they're difficult when it comes to solving them in a short period of time. So the challenge is how you can solve these questions in a limited period of time. If you were given an entire day to solve these 50 questions, I'm sure you will be about to ace them. However, the challenge comes when you have limited time. Now, talking about the structure. With regards to the structure, one, you should expect verbal reasoning. This section assesses a candidate's ability to understand and process written information, as well as their vocabulary and verbal logic skills. The second is numerical reasoning. This section evaluates mathematical abilities, including basic arithmetic, number series, and word problems. And last but not the least is abstract reasoning. This part measures a candidate's ability to identify patterns, solve puzzles, and think logically through non-verbal problems. We will be going into detail of each one of them. Rather, what I will also do is I will share with you the detail with regards to each one of these sections, what kind of questions to expect, and how you can go about acing them. Like, what are the tips and tricks to ace each section or each section type. Now, note, when I say section, it doesn't mean that the test will be broken down in sections. It is just that you should expect to receive these three types of questions, which are kind of mixed and matched together. So sometime you'll receive a numerical reasoning question, at other time you will receive an abstract reasoning question, and on other times you can expect to receive a verbal reasoning questions. Now, talking about the scoring, there are 50 questions, as I said, that you need to answer, but there is no negative mark for a wrong answer, which means that you should try to attempt as many questions as possible. So if there is a particular question on which you think that you might be taking more time, and when I say more time, which is more than 30 seconds, if you expect to take more than 30 seconds on a particular question, the number one tip is just guess and move forward, because that is a question which is difficult, and if you spend more time on it, you will be losing time and would not be able to solve or ace the questions for which you know the answers for, or which are easier for you to solve. So the idea is, every time you find a difficult question, just ace through it by guessing it, because there is no negative mark for guessing a particular question. Second, how you're typically scored is based on percentile. What percentile means is that you are compared that how did you perform versus the others who appear in the similar test. So out of 100, what was your percentage? Were you in the top 10? Were you in the top 5, in the top 20, and so on and so forth. And any organization who is hiring and has asked you to give this test has a particular cutoff. They want to hire people who are in the top 10 percentile only. So what you need to do is make sure that you answer enough questions that you fall in the top 10 percentile. What I mean to say here is, it is very difficult for you to exactly know how many questions do you need to correctly answer, because you don't know what percentile cutoff that the organization is looking for. So what you need to do is just make sure that you answer as many questions correctly as possible, so you score the highest and hence improve your chances of getting this particular job. Now let's talk about tips on acing this particular test. Number one is practice, practice, practice. Now, on practicing, I highly recommend that you solve as many questions as possible of these three kind of reasoning, be it abstract, be it verbal, be it numerical. For this very purpose, what I did was I sifted through the web and found this one particular website which has a test which it offers which mimics the original test. I highly recommend that if you want to practice, you practice using that test. What it does is that it kind of not just helps you practice the particular questions, but also practice the environment and the format. Because you can practice as many questions as you want, but if you're not familiarized yourself with the particular format that you expect or you should be expecting to receive on the final day, it will take you some time when you appear for the test in order to figure out the different format. Where does the time come? Where is the next button? Where is the back button and all? By the way, you cannot go back in this particular test, so you only can move forward, and hence it is important that you click the answer or appear or select an answer when you see it, as against wasting time and going back. But in any case, the point I wanted to make is you must familiarize yourself with the format of the test, and the best way to do it is to give a practice test online, because you can practice many questions, you can still be good at answering different type of questions, but you may take time when you appear in the test to familiarize yourself with the format itself, and that may cost you good 30 seconds to 60 seconds, and you don't have that much time. You don't have luxury to lose that time. So it's better that you not just practice how you go about answering the questions, but you also practice a real-time test. And for the real-time test, as I said, I sifted through the web and found this one particular website which provides you a real-time sample test which mimics the questions and the test and the format that you should expect to receive on the final day of the test. So I highly recommend you check it out. Apart from that, what I will also be doing is I will be making a series of videos where I will be covering different kind of questions, sample questions, and how you can go about acing them and answering them. What it will do is, one, it will tell you the kind of questions to expect, so more questions for you to practice, and more importantly, with each question I will tell you what is the smart and the quickest way to answer those questions. So I highly recommend you subscribe to this channel so you stay tuned with regards to videos that I will be uploading in future on this particular topic, where I will be sharing sample examples and helping you how you can go about acing them. Now, second tip which I previously talked about is that it is important that you manage time. You have 15 minutes to answer 50 questions, which means that you have 900 seconds to answer 50 questions, which is approximately 18 seconds per questions. So you cannot spend more than 18 seconds per question. Rather, you should be targeting to spend 15 seconds per question, because there might be some questions which take longer. And hence I say, if you think there is a particular question which may take more than 30 seconds of your time, just guess and move on. Because if you think it will take more than 30 seconds, I can assure you it will certainly take more than 45 seconds for you to grasp an answer, and you may still end up giving the wrong answer. So it is best you move on, pick any answer and move on, because this way you save some time, you do guess, and you also save some time which you can use on other questions as well. As I said previously, there is no negative mark for a wrong question or a wrong answer, so you can just move on guessing with the particular question. Third tip is to make sure, which is again related to practice, is to work on your math and logic. Especially after working in corporate sector for a couple of years, you may need to brush up your arithmetic skills and also logic skills with regards to patterns and puzzles. We are not used to using such skills on daily basis at our workplace, and hence this is not a strength that I have developed or I have been working on. Even if this was a strength when I was a student, over a period of time for past 18 years in my career, I've not been using these skills exactly the way they appear in the test, and hence it is important that you familiarize yourself with these questions and practice. So practice is the key tip that I have to share in this particular section of the video. Last but not the least, make sure you stay calm, like you are all well rested, you have a good night's sleep, and you are calm and you are focused. Because as I said again, it is important for you to save time. If you're not focused, if you're not calm, if you are stressed, then you will lose time. And here, time is the only thing which is the challenge. As I said, the questions are not that difficult, but they are difficult only because you have less time and you have to solve those questions in less time. If you had more time, you would be able to ace those questions. And hence it is important that you understand what are the smart ways, tips, tricks, and hacks that you can make use of in order to read the question quickly and then answer it under 15 seconds. And this is what I will be teaching you in the rest of the video, where I will be taking you through sample questions and explaining you what are the tips and hacks you can use in order to answer those particular questions. Now, with regards to verbal reasoning, you can expect to receive antonyms where one word has a different meaning than the other word, like they're complete opposite. Analogies, which is involving identifying a relationship between a pair of words and finding another pair that has the same relationship. Example, bird is to fly as fish is to what? Swim. And then there is syllogisms, which is a form of reasoning where you arrive at a conclusion based on two premises. Like premise 1 is all mammals are animals, premise 2 is all dogs are mammals, and conclusion is therefore all dogs are animals. This is based on reasoning when you're given two premises. And the last is sentence completion. So sentence completion requires you to fill the blanks in a sentence with the most appropriate word or words, and you will be given options. There is a particular sentence, let's say she was so dash that she could not speak. Possible answers could be, let's say, surprised or shocked or whatever the options that you are given. Now let's take an example of verbal reasoning. Here the sample question is synonyms. Which of the following words is most similar in meaning to audacious? Now, the beauty of verbal reasoning is that verbal reasoning should not take you a lot of time. Either you know it or you don't know it. So you should be able to answer it in like 5 seconds. And here the answer amongst or options we have are shy, bold, calm, ordinary. The answer is bold. Now, one way to improve your skills at verbal reasoning is to expand your vocabulary. However, the issue is that you don't have much time before you have to appear for the test. You have applied for a job, in a week's time they send you a test and they tell you you have 1 week to appear for the test. Trust me, you won't have time to improve your vocabulary. Like you can not go and start reading more books or start reading or learning more words. The vocabulary that you have already, that you've memorized, the words that you know are the words that you know. So here the trick is that you go about by elimination method. There are certain words which are obviously no, which just doesn't fall anywhere close to the word that you're looking for, and hence you can eliminate them. Now the reason elimination method works is because it leaves you with limited or less options. Instead of 4 options, let's say you only have 2 options because you've eliminated 2 of them, and it is much easier to guess between or among the last 2 options which are left as against guessing between the 4 options. So always try to eliminate the wrong ones, the obvious wrong ones, and then guess between the options that you're left with. One more tip is, which is not relevant to exactly this particular example, is to focus on the context. The sentence in which the word is used may be used in a particular context. So even if you don't know the meaning of the word, think in which form or context the word is being used, and then try to look for the right answer. Again, this will come through practice. So I highly recommend that instead of you increasing your vocabulary, it is better that you practice different form of questions. Also note that the questions that I will be covering in the videos that I will leave on my channel, where I will be sharing with you sample questions and telling you the tips and tricks to how you should go about answering them. Most of those questions you should expect to find in the final test as well. And the reason I say this is because, as I said, I coach numerous people who come and share feedback with me as to what they received in the test, and basis that I'm able to create and generate these videos. So for the most part, the questions that you will find in my videos and in the sample practice test that I will leave in the description of this video, you will find that in your final test, a lot of those questions will be repeated. So if you just practice them, practice more and more, you should be in a place where some of those questions that you've practiced also appear in your final test, and hence you will be able to ace them. Let's take an example for the critical thinking question as well under the verbal reasoning, which is, assume the first 2 statements are true. Is the final statement true, false, or uncertain based on the information provided? Ellie is not friends with Sam's friend. So here it is best to convert the statements into a formula. Ellie is not friends with Sam's friends. So whoever are Sam's friends, Ellie is not friends with them. This is something we know for certain. Julie, Jack, Sam, and Dylan are all friends. So Sam's friends include Julie, Jack, and Dylan, which means they won't be Ellie's friend. So E is not equal to SF, and Julie, Jack, JJ plus S plus D equals to F. Sam might be Ellie's friend. Yes, Sam can be Ellie's friend. It's just that Sam's friends are not Ellie's friend, but Sam could be Ellie's friend. It's just like I have a friend, but I'm not friends with my friend's friends, but I'm friend with that particular friend. So hence the correct answer is true. Now these questions typically are harder, and if you're good with them, good. If you're not good with them, again, assess if it takes you more than 30 seconds to answer. Just move on, guess and move on to the next question. Taking an example for a sentence completion, here is one. Dash, the team leaders had been told by the HR manager that continuing to overload his team with tasks would be dash to his employees. He insisted to tightening the schedules. And here you need to do a hit and trial, which is try the first one. Because the team leader had been told by the HR manager that the continuing to overload his team with tasks would be disadvantageous to his employees, he insisted on tightening the schedules. And here again, you can just simply try to put it in the word sentence and see if it works. Although the team leader had been told by the HR manager that the continuing to overload his team with tasks would be detrimental to his employees, he insisted on. So he's kind of doing something which he was even told that it's bad, he continued to do it. And hence you need to figure out which one is the right one. Numerical reasoning. Here the sample question is number series. What is the next number in the sequence? 2, 6, 12, 20. And options we have are 28, 30, 32, 36. Here typically what I would do is I would first try to understand if there is any addition or subtraction going on. That is the simplest way of finding what is the pattern. If not, only then move to multiplication or division. So here if I see 2 to 6, 2 becomes 6 by adding 4, makes sense. But for 6 to become 12, I have to add 6. So I added 4, I added 6, and then I add 8 into 12 to become 20. So I have 4, I have 6, I added 8. The numbers that I'm adding are increasing by 2. 4, 6, 8, and the next one should be 10. So I need to add 10 to 20. So the answer would be 30. So here typically, once you find a pattern, there's a pattern in a pattern, which is, as I said, there is being 4, 6, 8, 10. So you find another pattern and then you see what is the logic happening in that pattern and figure out what is the next number in that pattern, and then go back to the original pattern to figure out what is the final answer. So there would be a pattern in a pattern. Now under numerical section, you can expect 3 types of questions. One is the number series, the one kind of what I explained. The second is fractional questions, which is which fraction has the lowest value. So you need to be quick with fractions. And third is word problem. So you will be given a word problem to solve, which will have some mathematics or arithmetic to it, which you need to solve for. Again, I will be making a separate video where I will be going deeper into each of these particular segments. What are the sample practice questions that you can expect and how you should go about answering or acing those different type of questions. This one example that I shared with you for number reasoning was for series. So you get a number series and you have to find the next number in the pattern or in the series. Here, let me also take one example for a fractional question as well, because typically people find fractional questions very difficult when it comes to verbal reasoning. So here the example I have is which of the following has the lowest value? 1 by 2, 5 by 7, 3 by 8, 3 by 5, 2 by 3. Here the trick is that the value for the number would be lowest if the denominator, which is the number below the dash line, is the biggest, and the numerator, which is the number above the dash line on the fraction, is the smallest. So the bigger the bottom number, the smaller the upper number, the smaller will be the entire fraction value. So here the one which has the highest or the biggest denominator is 3 by 8. And it also happens to be one of the lowest. It has number 3 in numerator. However, there is one fraction where we have number 1 in the numerator, which is smaller than number 3. However, when we look at the denominator for that particular fraction, it is 2, which is far smaller than 8. 8 is too big. So 3 by 8 would be our answer. Now, under the abstract reasoning questions, you can expect 3 kind of questions. One is find the odd one out. There are 4 or 3 figures given to you. Find the one which is odd one out. The next could be series. So this is a pattern series for different shapes. What would be the next shape in the pattern? And you're given different options. And the last one is matrix, where you have a matrix of shapes and there is one shape which is kind of blank, and based on the other shapes which are available in that particular matrix, you have to guess which shape should fit in that particular blank. Here, given matrix question is the most difficult one, I have a sample question for that, and let me explain how you should go about answering it. So here we have a blank in the bottom right corner. The other shapes are kind of full. So if you see here, there is a pattern that I can see. The opposite shapes are kind of similar, which is the one on the left bottom and the one on the top right. They are similar shapes. And the ones which are in the middle, so top middle and bottom middle, they are almost opposite, which is a 180 degree switch between the shapes. So they're kind of 180 degree different. And hence we see the same pattern in the ones which is left middle and right middle as well. They're 180 degree different. So it is easy to conclude that the corner shapes take the same shape and hence I would go for answer B, which is same shape as the top left corner shape, and B would be our answer for the matrix. Thank you guys for watching this video. I'm sure after watching this video you will be much comfortable in knowing what to expect in your Ccat test and how you can go about acing it. In case you found value from this video, I'm sure you'll find value from another video, which is how you can go about introducing yourself in an interview, because if you clear your Ccat test, there's a good chance you will be asked to appear in an interview. So check out that video here. Other than that, there is another video where I talk about how you can go about controlling your nerves in the interview. You can check it out here.